I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know all those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, sure, he can control the demon. Didn't work out.
Welcome back to the Conspiracy Meta with DisillusionDruid. The theme of this week's episode, glitches in the Matrix.
We are being programmed. These algorithms know our preferences better than us. That's only going to increase. How do we increase agency at the individual level? It's by choice. It's by being able to turn off the algorithm.
Speaking of glitches in the Matrix, the world's second largest crypto, Bybit, experienced the world's first largest crypto heist last Friday, with the equivalent of $1.5 billion hacked and redistributed. I'm sure it's a coincidence that $1 trillion was wiped out from the U.S. stock market the same day. I keep waving the flag here. We're in the middle of an intense cyber war that the news cycle and average citizens seem completely oblivious to. If you've been paying attention, there's been major cyber attacks occurring between America and China, with Russia fighting against the EU on their front. The FBI declared North Korean hacktivist group Lazarus as the guilty parties, but considering the logo is a one-eyed mummy like Osiris or Horus, and the Phoenix resurrection implications of Lazarus aren't really that subtle, I'm going to go ahead and wager Cash Patel's new FBI is probably behind it all. Call me a disinformation spreader, I guess, but I remember another time that the FBI created a problem to which they were the solution. Speaking of one-eye cultists, though, Dan Crenshaw made headlines this week, staging a hot mic PR stunt where he said if he ever met Tucker Carlson in person, he'd kill him. Well, bullshit. But if the former combat-injured Navy SEAL and the CIA talking head want to get in a cage and duel to the death, I'm not going to stop them. When stuff like this hits the headlines, folks, always ask yourself, what do the symbols behind the messaging mean? I find where a symbol appears more than once, you've got a narrative cooking. Let's keep the skull symbols going then and hop over to our resident bonesman's dealings with the Ukraine and Russia this week. Scott Bessent, Yale alumni and Treasury Secretary, for some reason got involved. Is this normal for the Treasury to be involved in diplomacy when there's already a diplomatic team and appointed ambassadors? What's really happening here? Anyways, Bessent stared Zelensky in the eyes with a contract signing away those precious Ukrainian rare earth metals, putting the pressure on telling Zelensky to sign the damn deal, presumably without reading it. Maybe Bessent, whose family name rests on the mantle above Yale's library, really is a bonesman after all. In reeling from the aftermath of Trump and blazing forward with talks with Russia, Ukraine, Europe, and the UN responded. The UNGA, the United Nations General Assembly, and also a word cavemen say, proposed a resolution on the Russian invasion of Ukraine. But what do these really do? Can anyone tell me? What does a UN resolution do? And to everyone's surprise, the US voted on the side of Russia, and Russia's typical supporters in Europe didn't vote how you'd think. Robert Fico, president of Slovakia, longtime supporter of Putin in Russia, appears to have accidentally voted against Russia, siding with the UN and Ukraine, causing further outrage in a country we already covered experiencing unrest. Furthermore, Serbia's President Vucic, another proud supporter of the Russian ways, was apparently tired and also accidentally backed the UN and Ukraine over Russia. And with the pro-Russian Milorad Dodik, president of Republika Srpska, and the Serb-run half of Bosnia sentenced to jail for stirring old Serbian-run Yugoslav sentiments, and pro-Russian Romanian annulled presidential victor Georgescu arrested for alleged Russian corruption in his canceled election, it seems like Trump really is going to new lengths to establish the globalist technates and break down old alliances and divisions. On the subject of Trump and shaking up global politics, Trump quite bizarrely released an AI video of his reimagined Gaza with a statue of him depicted as a golden idol of Nebuchadnezzar. How appropriate the king of Babylon here would want the Jews to bow down to a shiny golden image of himself. Never mind how I somehow foresaw this precise imagery last year. What I didn't foresee was the AI video Trump must have been responding to, of him kissing the feet of his Doge master Elon, who's developing an AI that'll automate firing of government workers if they don't respond to his Hydra-esque overreaching emails. But Elon, AI, and breakdowns in the system brings us to the meat of the matter this week. The dead internet theory. I went into this one with an intent of breaking down the dead internet theory, which is really just a dead internet reality, and I ended up somewhere completely different at the end of it. From my research, the dead internet theory states that the internet died sometime around 2016, 2018, coincidentally when Trump hit the scene and Elon Musk started warning about artificial intelligence. What does this mean? The dead internet theory was popularized in an Atlantic article in 2021 where the idea was that between Google search algorithms becoming a pay-to-play model mixed with political and cultural censorship and the advent of early-level AI bots like Reddit commenters, tweeters, and DDoS hacktivism, essentially flooding large open forum social media with fake accounts and activity, the internet pre-2016 or so was a completely different entity. The theory then, with the advent of AI, develops into the idea that because so many bots are on the internet, the bots are determining the algorithm and create a majority of the content we see during doom scroll sessions, more than humans could ever manage to influence or keep up with. Of course, this isn't so much a conspiracy theory these days, as much as it's just normal. In fact, the YouTube AI suggested I cover this topic to boost my reach, rather proving this is an acceptable idea in the mainstream thought. So much so that regular research data shows that now almost 2/3 of all internet activity is directed by bots, macros, and AI programs scraping or manipulating search results. The almighty algorithm. I like what Jack Dorsey had to say on the subject a few weeks ago. The algorithms are programming us, not the other way around. And we, as in the surface level internet user, cannot perfectly predict how the algorithm will program us or defend ourselves against it. But that's the thing. Artificial intelligence can not only perfectly analyze the functional outputs of an internet social media algorithm, but it can then make predictions and determine results. As Dorsey said, these programs know us better than we know ourselves. And being the literal age of the internet itself, I'm old enough to remember all of its various iterations, including when my parents would kick me off just to make a phone call. YouTube and Google were indeed different breeds, both in content and search results. From Tosh.0 and American Funniest Home Videos online, we've devolved into who can manipulate the algorithm the best so they can start endorsing various supplement companies and cash out on being a viral influencer. But therein lies the twist of the dead internet theory that I think is the most intriguing. Who or what is behind this shift in the internet? It's a good question, but not the right one. Instead ask, who is behind the internet to begin with? DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, under the U.S. Department of Defense, or the Department of War as it used to be called. I mean, the internet used to be called DARPANet, after all. And who's been DARPA's factually highest paid contractor over the past decade or so? Shout out to This Ninja Nerd for pointing out that XAI is not only the name of Elon Musk's AI program, but was the name of DARPA's initial investigation into the software. And Twitter wasn't the only social media DARPA was behind. In fact, that brings us to an even more interesting question. If you start to research all of the copyright and proprietary software lawsuits going on in big tech and artificial intelligence right now, what with Meta stealing from archive.org, DeepSeek stealing from OpenAI, OpenAI stealing from Elon, Anthropic stealing from Amazon, China stealing from Google, Apple and Google stealing from OpenAI and selling it to China, if the robber barons reloaded are all stealing from each other yet continuing to grow ever more rich, ever more powerful, is there really any stealing going on at all? And if they aren't actually stealing from one another, because I doubt any of these lawsuits on AI are really going to go anywhere other than further profiteering and collusion, then maybe all the AI software that's out there is really just engineered from one source program. It's kind of like the conspiracy theory that Nazis found a crashed alien spacecraft and reverse engineered all the futuristic technology of the 20th century from it, from stealth jets to microwaves. DARPA incubates engineers that can then develop sufficiently advanced artificial intelligence and then disseminate it to various controlled technocrats throughout the nations to prepare the technology for a new world order among the population. After all, cybersecurity is leading the charge hand in hand with AI developments. So super smart computers plus security equals total cyber control. Who else has ties to DARPA, after all? While we're talking about national security entities, however, the entire national security and intelligence crowd this week in the United States is experiencing a shakeup unseen since Jimmy Carter took office. The NSA's intelligence staffers are in hot water for sending nudes to their recruits. The CIA is undergoing the largest mass firing since 1977, coincidentally when MKUltra was covered up by Bush and Biden and reshuffled into the Department of Energy. The FBI is on fire with the new head, Kash Patel, who's also the acting head of the ATF, an unprecedented move, to my knowledge anyways, and it should really cause, the conspiratorial-minded here to shudder at the idea of FBI regulating guns in this country. But while we're discussing the FBI, Attorney General Pam Bondi, who released the Epstein files on Thursday in this garbage PR stunt, only to disappoint anybody who was still having copium. Bondi, who was a Triple Delta sorority member, do any of these symbols look familiar? She reported that some of the Epstein and JFK files over at the FBI were being held back illegally or being destroyed by the dreaded anonymous saboteurs. Oh no. I'm sure the timing of Michelle Trachtenberg's death has nothing to do with the evidence of political wrongdoing potentially being covered up by the feds, nor the death of the man of gene hacks going hand in hand with Trump-supported AI developing its own genomes. Trust plan, anons. That's it for this week. Don't worry if you feel things are getting dicey either in America or abroad, because talks of nuclear power station buoys blocking ports of entry along the American coastline should keep all those baddies out. Of course, it might just be part of the plan to keep us Americans in. Not to worry though, because at least NASA says that asteroid that was going to kill us all is no longer a threat. Although, the moon on the other hand. Well, if things get dicey, people get out of hand, they can always release another coronavirus from Wuhan. Oh wait. Be sure to like this video, follow me, share this video, and all my other content with as many people it takes to wake up to what's coming. Until next time, keep seeking truthers. You can find the answers you're looking for if you look hard enough.